All right, didn't get any emails, didn't get any requests, so I'm here in case you got any questions in the chat. Otherwise, gonna mess around with a few emails and then probably the guitar. Can we go to the discussion board? There are some parts of the reactions that I'm still confused about. So can you be some more specific about which parts you're confused about? So the discussion board in question here is looking at, we're starting with 2,2-dimethyl cyclohexanol without any stereochemistry being specified. And it's reacting to form one of two compounds. It's reacting to form either this cis or this trans bromo with two methyl groups, or you end up still getting this trans bromo. But in this case, with the trans bromo, each one's associated with a methyl group. So when we look at this molecule, what you have to ask yourself is what's the same and what's the difference between the two? So if you look at the top one, we still kind of have this parent molecule here. Like it's still there. But we've got added to it are bromines. And the trick here is looking at how the bromines finish up. They are a trans bromine. So what reactions can you think of that actually finish with a trans bromine? Like which one, what reactions would you need in order to get these two bromines that are on opposite sides of the ring? Now, once you think about that, next question is how do you produce that intermediate? So what compound will, what reactions do you know of that end up with two bromines being trans relative to one another? Which solvents are being used? So as far as the solvents go, it's going to be the same as it would be for SN1, SN2. So when it comes to solvents for SN1, we want something that promotes a carbocation. So we want something that's very polar, has a very high K dielectric constant. But for elimination, we don't want something that's protic. So we want an aprotic polar solvent, in this case, something like tetrahydrofuran. So for this one, we went through an E2 mechanism. I still have one of those. And something like THF, tetrahydrofuran here, is going to really, sorry, this was the E1 mechanism. For E1, we're going to promote the carbocation. We need to pick something that has a high K dielectric constant, high epsilon coefficient. And so something like tetrahydrofuran would work. Something like this we want to do with something like dimethyl ether or DME because this will promote the E2 mechanism. So the solvents are picked the same way you do for SN1. The big thing is that for elimination, you want to pick something that is aprotic. Because typically what you're using to do the elimination reaction is a strong anion. So something like terbutoxide, methoxide, ethoxide, isopropoxide, all of those have a negative charge. If there is a free proton in solution, they will take it. So if you pick up a protic solvent, you're going to end up basically reacting away your solvent and reacting away your desired strong base. But yeah, it's the exact same line of reasoning for SN1, SN2. It's just you want to make sure you're not picking something that's protic. So for the units, we just have to look at the example from the test 3 notes for whatever solvent we use as a baseline. Yeah. Actually, there should be a list in the test 3 notes that there's a table that shows how to promote E1, E2, and SN1, SN2 to show those parallels and demonstrate that really it's the same line of reasoning. Other questions? Individualized Learning Center, the ILC, actually has really good resources. Um, So this is part of your tuition, and they do provide tutoring options as well as assessments on how to do on what your learning styles are. They also have access to all of our resources. So in terms of like study packets, notes, videos, they have those as well. So I would recommend definitely giving the ILC a look. They do still have in-person tutoring, as far as I know. They don't really keep us in the loop about stuff after the semester starts, so they're really good about talking to us beforehand, not during and after. But the worst you can do is reach out and they can tell you that they don't have in-person tutoring. But to the best of my knowledge, they still do have in-person tutoring, and it's actually a nice system. I think where you just kind of like look at a schedule and click for availabilities. But as of the start of the semester, they still had in-person tutoring. Yeah, the other thing they provide that's kind of nice is they also do self-assessments for learning styles. So if you have questions about how you learn, how you best learn, they're very good about providing basically a self-assessment that they work through with you to figure out what your learning style is. I try to address as many learning styles as I can in my course. That said, as is true with all instructors, we tend to teach towards our own personal learning styles. I'm a much more kinesthetic learner. I learn by doing, and you can see that in my course. Some people learn better by reading. Some people learn better by hearing. Some people learn better by watching. There's a lot of different learning styles. So they will let you kind of figure out what learning style works best for you so you can start seeking out those resources. Again, I try to address the 5 learning styles in my course, but you can definitely see I'm a kinesthetic learner, and there's a lot of kinesthetic learning in my courses. No, with all discussion boards, you have until basically when exams start to respond to the discussion board, at which point they're part of your homework grades, so I'm not going to let you keep doing them through exams. I need to put your grades up. But throughout the semester, you have the option of submitting them late with zero penalty. The point is that you do them. They are attendance, so this is why you need to do them on time so I can count you as being present each week. But even something as simple, just posing saying, I'm dropping this in for attendance, that's fine. Just so I had the record to show that you showed up to class that week. But you'll never be penalized for submitting the discussion board late. So the point is, I get it. Like you got stuff to do, particularly if you got like exams, other courses. So yeah, that's all you really need to do if you ever don't have time to do the discussion board. Is just say, hey, I'm putting this in for attendance. You'll get a 0, but you can always go back and resubmit for a higher grade. Oh, really? You happy that you're once again the center of attention? Remember when you were a kitten and you hated being picked up? Lay down, take a nap. for the reagents, would it be the same as the solvent for these reactions? Yes, so the reagents are dissolved in the solvent. Very rarely would you ever work with the pure compound. Although something like tert butoxide, you could work with tert butanol and add a little bit of sodium to make the tert butoxide, and that creates the tert. The tert butanol is the the tert butanol is both the solvent and is also the reactant. But in most cases, you typically have a reagent that's just dissolved in whatever medium, because the thing is that in solutions, things react faster. If you take two solids and put them together, they only react at the interface. But if you dissolve things, they're more likely to react because they're kind of floating around, and they react more by diffusion, which is a lot faster than them physically moving. No, it's better you ask than fail. I mean, that's what you're paying for, right? So the thing to keep in mind is that alcohols, alkyl halides, and alkenes are meant to be kind of sister concepts. We talk a lot about alcohols and alkyl halides being converted to alkenes, and we talk a lot about how alkenes can be converted to alkyl halides. Now, they do undergo different reactions. With alcohols and alkyl halides, you have substitution reactions, and with the alkenes, you definitely have addition reactions that you couldn't normally do with alcohols, alkyl halides. So we can make diols with them, we can make aldehydes, we can make ketones. But the thing is to view them all as kind of a big picture. They're all basically, we have this big picture of organic chemistry, and now we're going to look down at little picture points of it, but everything is still connected to each other. So the alkene should feel easier than the alcohols, alkyl halides, because you've already done the big three. You've done characterization, naming, and basic synthesis. Pretty much from here on out in organic, what we're going to focus on is just more advanced synthesis and refining the naming and refining the geometry and the analysis. But I would not say conceptually we're learning anything new. We're just more filling in details at this point. And that's how it's going to progress all the way through organic too, is that you're filling in more details about characterization. You're filling in more details about naming. You're filling in more details about reactions and reaction schemes. having a lot of interesting discussions right now amongst the faculty about academic integrity and how best to handle it. And I really wish I could share some of these conversations with y'all because some of them are incredibly funny. Yeah, just post something saying like I'm just doing this for attendance. Like it saves me the time. And again, you'll just see the zero, so I can show that you received a grade on a certain date. But again, you can always come back up until the day exams start to fill back in any discussion boards. No, you have until the start of the final exams, which if you give me a minute to bring that up. So in terms of hard dates for the discussion boards, come on. You have until December 9th to do the discussion boards, at which point I'm cutting you off because, again, I need to start getting the grades together. But that'll set your homework grade. That'll set your quiz. December 9th, your homework grade, your quiz grade will be set. Your lab grade will be set by the 4th. So you will know definitively by midday on the 10th exactly like what remains in terms of what you can do because the only outstanding grade at that point will be the final exam. And that's pure practicality. By December 17th, by noon, I have to have all my grades posted. So it makes life a lot easier on me at the final exams, the only thing that's left. And we do have issues with server crashes, so and this includes all the discussion boards. If you want to go back to the start of the semester and start filling them in, you're free to do so. Um, I will be annoyed if you do that, but yeah, like it's fair game. All right, so since there aren't any questions, I'll go ahead and head out. And I will see as many of you as I expect to see next Tuesday. Don't forget, next week is the exam. You have actually until Saturday to do the homework. The homework's not due that Friday just because that is a holiday. And I'm technically not supposed to give you due dates for the holidays. So we give the day after the holiday. And then your exam is due the following Sunday. And then we are into the last couple weeks of class. In fact, there are only 7 live streams left to go this semester. So, again, feel free to always to ask me, email any questions in advance. And if anything, I'll see you at the practical.